What up? Jeremy Affelt here. I am going live on Instagram. I'm switching over to I got to switch over to the Instagram feed and go live here as well. But I am super pumped. I am about to talk to you about some amazing things. My son is bothering me, just so you know. Just so y'all know, my son is bothering me in my podcast studio, and it's distracting. Okay. Jeremy Affelt, Built for the Storm, episode 2. We're going to talk, does Bullpens win championships? Do they win championships? They do. I'm going to just end the podcast. They do. They win championships. They win it. I'm live. So we are going to win championships. We help. Here's how we're going to discuss this. End of argument, we do, but I'm going to give you some statistics on it. I'm super pumped to get back with you today, this week. I am, again, Jeremy Affelt, and I am going to blow this bullpen thing up because I was a part of 2010, 2012, and 2014 and World Championships with the San Francisco Giants. Let me tell you something. It was the bullpens. It was the bullpens that helped win championships. Yes, we had starters. Yes, we had hot hitters. Yes, we had some amazing things going on. I'm live again and still trying to yell at my son because he's bothering me. And yes, I'm doing this on live. I'm actually getting after my son because he can't look at the ground and look at the corner over there by the door to find my keys. Thank you. Yes, he is. This is awesome. Super pumped. So we are going to talk again about what I'm doing because I'm live. So 2010, 2012, 2014 World Championships. Think about this. Great starters. Kane, Lincecum. We had Zito coming through in big games. We had Vogelsong coming through in big games. We had all kinds of stuff going on in those World Series. Bumgarner, obviously. You can't forget about him. But in 10, we had misfits. They called us misfits. Why? Because we had a bunch of stuff going on. We had Johnny Sanchez. We had Lincecum. We had Kane. We had guys throwing all over the playoffs. Then we had bullpens going. We had Bum coming up in 2010 as a kid. What is he, a 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid coming in to help us in the bullpen and then pitch game 4. But in the end, who was the last person on the mound when we won a world championship? Fear the Beard. Why? You got to have a bullpen to lock it down. You got to have it. So we're going to talk about it. So there is no myth. They say, what's the myth? Is it myth or reality that you need a bullpen or that you don't need a bullpen? No, you need a bullpen. You do. In fact, I'm not going to say the name of the GM, but I'm just going to let you know that it didn't work out well for him. Because one time I was in free agency, and right after 2010 or 2011, we were talking. I was talking to some GMs, and they were like, "Hey, I just come off of free agency, and we were talking about bullpens." And he's like, "You know what? I just don't pay much for bullpen guys." Oh, you don't pay much for bullpen guys? How many world championships you got? Zero world championships. But who paid for a bullpen? Sabian calls up and he says, "Hey." Bobby Evans calls up and says, "Hey, we need a bullpen, so we're going to go build it." So they started building it in 2009. They had Romo coming up. They had Wilson, who was obviously a dominant closer by then. They bring Bob Howry in to pitch like the 7th, 8th inning to help Romo from the right side to show him how to paint the strike zone. Then Romo came in with a nasty slider. He developed an unbelievable slider. He brought me in from the left side to help some of these lefties out because Bochy said, "I don't mind having a bullpen. I need a veteran bullpen, though, and I need him to throw strikes." So they started slowly building what a bullpen can be. Then 2010 came around. We get Casilla, right? We get Casilla, then we get Romo, and we have Wilson. And then they added me again. I'm back again. Then we start bringing in different guys. And now we got Bumgarner coming up midseason. Right? We got Bumgarner coming in. You got Posey coming in that can control pitch and staff. He had to fill big shoes in Molina. He comes in. We bring Bum in late, but we have Kane. We got Lincecum. We got Bum. We got Zito. We got Johnny Sanchez. So we've got a staff. Johnny's throwing no-hitters. Like, he's throwing no-hitters. He's winning wild card winning games at the very, very end, hitting triples. Right? We got all kinds. We got some hitters. We got Huff coming in. We had Renneria. We went out and got some dudes, man. We went and got Cody Ross, right? Cody Ross comes in, get him. So we went and got some hitters. Pat Burrell, got some veteran guys coming in late. But in the end, I get hurt towards the end of the season, maybe middle of the season. You get Javi Lopez. So now you got a lefty, dominant lefty who's been in the World Series before. I was in that World Series. I was on the losing end of that, right? He had pitched for the Red Sox. He's been a part of a World Championship. Can pitch. He's got funky arm angle, afraid of nobody, brilliant, smart, ice cold out there, never shows any emotion, keeps everything calm, executes. Then you got myself coming back off the DL. Then you had Sergio. Then you had Casilla. Then you had Wilson. We had all kinds of guys. It was crazy. We had some amazing guys coming in, right? So we had all these guys coming. We had Moda coming. We had Moda with us. We had so many guys that came in, and we just locked down a bullpen. We locked it down, and we got through. We were not supposed to win the World Series. We were not supposed to get through the first round of the playoffs. We ended up doing it because we had guys that could pitch. We had the Phillies. Take Game 6. Game 6, Johnny Sanchez. What happens? Hits Utley. Causes a little fake brawl. You know, we had the fake stuff. I mean, Utley became the MVP from my perspective because we had Ramon Ramirez. I forgot about that. Ramon Ramirez. We had Ramon Ramirez with us in the bullpen. Ramon and I are we're in the bullpen, getting ready to warm up. Johnny gets out in the second, comes out in the second. I get brought in to throw a couple innings, and then Bum comes in, throws a couple innings. Who follows that? Lincecum comes in after that. And then Wilson solidifies it, and we go to the World Series, and then we run the bullpen out of that skit. But here's the big deal for me. Here is the killer deal. If you look, and I'm going to keep getting in to these bullpens and how they're helping you win world championships. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to kind of pump the Giants a little bit, but I'm going to get into some other scenarios. Let's look at some of the, I got stats. I got this stuff here, right? I got this going on. So let's think about bullpens in the dominance. The Yankees bullpen, they had kind of like a core four, right? In the 90s came in, you had Wetland. I mean, you had Mariano Rivera, obviously. Mariano's Mariano. You're never going to forget about that guy. But you had so many guys. They had lefties that could come get you out. They had Nelson, big righty, big strong righty. They had the guys, right? Then let's look, okay, 2014 Giants, no brainer. We'll get into that in a minute. 2016 Cubs. You got Aroldis Chapman coming in, breathing fire like a dragon, just throwing 102 on the black. Down in the zone, like not on the kneecap, coming in. He was absolutely dominant. He had a little bit of an implosion there in Game 7, but it still worked out. They still won it, and they had a dominant bullpen. Then the 2021 Braves. Let's look at Tyler Matzik. Man, the guy, absolute monster out of the bullpen for them that year. Absolute monster. Luke Jackson, Will Smith, those guys coming in. Will Smith, former Giant, comes in. He locks down the bullpen. He continues to help them out. The starters did not go deep for Atlanta. They didn't. Check it out. Go back and look at it. They did not go deep. But what happened? It didn't matter because they had 3 or 4 bullpen guys that could carry them later in the games. You get more days off in the playoffs, and you can lock it down. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th or 9th. If you can lock it down the 6th or 9th with a dominant bullpen with the built-in days off, you will win championships, period, because the games are won and lost most of the time at the back end. These games are so tight in the World Series. You don't see blowouts. You don't see starters. A lot of times you don't see them it's not like the game's over in the second inning most of the time. It always comes down to the end. And then it's a chess match. Matchups, who's coming in, who's rested, who's ready to go, and even more importantly, who's got ice in their veins. Because the playoffs are a different bird. They are. It is a constant pressure-packed scenario. It's a pressure cooker the entire time, which who is used to being in those pressure-packed situations for a lot of times during the year? The back end of a bullpen. They're in a lose it, win it or lose it. One pitch costs you, one pitch gains you situation the entire season most of the time. They're used to it. Bump up the pressure a little bit. You'll separate the men from the boys, but you're still going to see these guys. If they're a dominant bullpen during the season, there's a good chance they're going to come and dominate during the postseason. If you do not build a bullpen that can function in a postseason, you will not win a championship. I don't care what you say. I'll argue till I'm blue in the face. It's going to happen. You got to have it. and then take, why do you got, so you got to have these kind of guys in my opinion, your bullpen's got to be built pretty good. It's got to have a lockdown closer, like we said. You got to have a lockdown lefty. And I don't care what you say about Loogie or not Loogie, and they got to face minimum of 3 hitters now, or what. They keep bringing up the Loogies wouldn't make it. I beg to differ. Let's take Javi Lopez. They considered him that. I don't believe he was. He's faced righties. He's pitched his whole life. He didn't only face left-handers in college. He didn't only face left-handers in the minor leagues. Frankly, didn't only face left-handers in the big league when he's in the big leagues. He faced lefties in big key situations because we had the ability to use him in those situations. If he had to be used in other situations, he would have got it done. The guy's smart. He figured out, he literally recreated his whole pitching mechanics. He figured out how to keep himself in the big leagues and in a professional sport for 10 years. He's smart. He can do it. He would have figured it out. He just didn't have to, but he could have. So I don't want to hear the Loogie situation. But if you've got a lockdown starter, if you got a couple of them, like guys that can get you 1 or 2 times deep in the game, and you have a ice in your veins closer, you have a 7th, 8th inning guy, you have a power lefty, power righty, or a righty that's absolutely dominant, like Sergio Romo, right? You get somebody like that, and then you get a long guy, which is usually one of the other starters that knows how to compete out of the bullpen. Actually easier said than done. Really hard to come out of the bullpen when you're used to starting. But 2012, Tim Lincecum, huge for us in the 2012 World Series. Petit against the Nationals throws 6 innings in an 18-inning ball game. He threw 6 innings. 6, not at the beginning. Like in like another game, but within the same game, he threw 6 innings so that Brandon Belt can hit a nuclear bomb in the 18th to win a huge game, which honestly, it was not a clincher, but it was exhausting because what had happened is we didn't have to exhaust our bullpen. I forgot to even pitch that night, but I didn't overthrow. A lot of us didn't overthrow. We were used in our roles in that game, and they decided they left. I think it was Zimmerman in 1 inning too long, and Pablo hits a freaking ball down the line, and that's what tied the game. And then Petit Bochy jumped on his back and said, "I'm just going to ride you out here because I can't burn it. I just don't want to burn it all. Like you're it." So we had a ton of energy left in our bullpen after that game. So that is, to me, that was a key deal. And Timmy, like I said, in 2012 in that World Series, if you remember, he threw some big innings, big outs, saving us. We won 4 straight in Detroit against Detroit, but he pitched some big games where we didn't have to get pitched and we didn't want to, which allowed us to be able to do our roles and our jobs. And if you can have a hot hitter and a great defense, you're going to win some ball games, period. But the bullpen is key. You got to have the bullpen. You got to have it. So for me, in the bullpen, you're on razor's edge, right? Your ace gives up 2 runs in 6. Okay? Pretty good, right? That's good. 2 runs in 6. Nowadays, man, if you give up 2 runs in 4, you get pulled. They think you did. They actually douse champagne on you. They think you're great. They're going to give you $50 million because they're considering you a big time starter of going 4 innings. No, 6 innings, 2 runs. Pretty good. Everything's good. Not good enough if you don't have a good bullpen. Because if you can't hold it in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, it's not good enough. And a lot of these teams, they will tell you, our hitters are good enough. And as long as we can keep the game close and get to the bullpen, we believe we can win. I don't think any team can honestly say in 2010, even years we didn't win, right? 2011, 2013, didn't matter. Our bullpen was good. I don't think any team came in and ever said that, hey, you know what? Let's just get through the starters because it's going to be Timmy, Bum, Kane, Vogie. I mean, in their primes, dominating. Let's just get through them. We'll be fine. Keep it close, and let's get to their bullpen. Those guys knew. Teams would tell you. They've told us, hey, man, if we don't get to your starter, which is almost impossible, we're not getting to the bullpen. So, hey, we're going to lose 2-1 today. Just be okay with it. Hopefully, we take 1 out of 3. That's how teams started to see it. Teams started to see that unless they could shut us out, we had a really good chance to win close ball games because we could lock it down. We had the guys to do it. So in the playoffs, 6 innings, 2 runs, great job. Shake the hand, high five, go ice down, come watch a good ball game. But if we don't have a good bullpen, we're going to be bussing 20. and heads down. That's how it's going to be. So for me, you got to have matchup flexibility, right? And the whole lefty specialist, I know in the, you can get in the playoffs if you end an inning, you can try to do it. But the real reality is you still have to have matchup specialties. You got to have that flexibility to be able to know which guys can do what. So now you do need a lefty that can face lefties and righties and get them out. So they better have something special with that arm angle. But knowing that the majority of the time, if I put you in, I'm going to make sure you're facing one or two lefties. And if they're going to pinch hit somebody, it's a right-hander who's cold off the bench, which I think you can do just fine. Or I'm going to switch. I'm going to make them switch hit. I'm going to make them switch other sides of the plate. Most of the time, you take away their power if you do that. Right? They might hit for better average sometimes, but a lot of times you'll take away their power. That's how I saw it when I pitched. I didn't have a problem facing switch hitters. I knew that I took away their power. They kind of broke down their swing a little bit. So you had to be careful a little bit with them because they can hit for better average, but I still had a better chance. So that's why I see it the way I see it that way on lefties. You got to have short leashes, right? Starter makes one mistake. The bullpen guys are the firemen with no hose limit, zero hose limit. Means win the playoffs. If you need to get to your bullpen early, you got to be able to believe that they have the arms to be able to go out there and the tenacity to go out there to have no hose limit. You are good. You get out there, you go out there, we're going to win this ball game. The starter went 4 innings, momentum shift, done. Bring in a guy that kills momentum, usually a power arm or a really or your third or fourth starter that knows what he's doing. It's got great stuff that you only need him for 1 or 2 innings, and then bring in another guy, and just keep going at it, knowing even if there's a game tomorrow, we'll get through it. We'll do the same thing. We get a day off. Everybody gives their arm a break, come back in ready for game 3. That's what you have to have. Momentum killers. You got to have a dominant arm that kills momentum. That is exactly what you need. Tim Lincecum could do that. If there was a momentum situation in 2012, he came in out of the bullpen. He'd come in there throwing 98, throwing the kitchen sink, throwing a split, throwing a slider, throwing that nasty freaking sinker, throwing it all at him. And then it kills momentum. 2014, we had a bunch of us. I kind of did it a little bit. I come in and early in the game. I think they said I pitched every inning 2 through 10 at some point in the playoffs in 2014. That's how Bochy used me. He used me whenever he did. I have to come in and kill a momentum. In game 7, they were getting momentum on Hudson. I came in. My job was to kill that momentum as quick as I could, give him a couple 1 or 2 more innings, and then we brought in Bum, and the rest is history. Right? We knew we could have that. We had to save our closer for our closer. That's what it was. But you had momentum killers, guys that could come in and shut it down right away. That's what you need in the bullpen. If you have that, if you have those things, bullpens will be why you win championships. If you do not have those things, if you absolutely do not have those things, in my opinion, you will not win championships. You will not. You cannot. It's impossible to do it. 2014, but you also need, and this is a perfect example, you also, so I've talked about this bullpen, but you do need good defense. You got to play defense. If you don't play defense, it doesn't matter. Unless your bullpen can strike everybody out, which they cannot, you got to have defense that can make big plays. We had that. We had Joe Panic. We had Brandon Crawford. You see it. I mean, look at the Yankees. They had their whole freaking infield were Gold Glovers. I mean, everybody. It's Soriano. You had Jeter. You had Alex Rodriguez over there. I mean, you had you had all Cantu. You had Cantu. You had all these guys. You had Bernie Williams out there in the heyday. You just had all these guys that could play great defense. They could run it down. They even brought Johnny Damon over. Right? You look at those teams. Look at the teams with the Rangers when they won it. They had some boppers. They did. They had some hitters. They had some good pitching. They had some bullpens, but they had some pretty good defense. Right? You see it. The Dodgers, when they won it, they could hit, they could field, they could start. And honestly, when they won it, I didn't really love their bullpen. I'm gonna give it to them, but they came through and they needed to. And they iced it down. And I don't give credit to the Dodgers a whole lot. So that's your one and done right there. One and done. Kansas City, when they were against us in 14 and 15, didn't matter. What did they have? A lockdown bullpen. They had a lockdown bullpen, and they could play some defense. They could run the ball down. They can fly out there, out in the outfield. They had some guys that could pick it. They had a smart catcher like we had with Buster. We had guys that could play some defense, but you have to have that one freaking ice in your veins, killer starter. A starter that when he is your stopper, that if he has to be brought in or pitch, he's going to kill the momentum. He's going to get to pitch in the playoffs, especially the World Series. In a best of 7, he's going to get at least 2 starts. And he's going to be that guy that's going to cause problems. Like, he's going to force you because he can beat you a couple times. He's going to force you to go to 6, force you to possibly go to 7. That's what he does. Who do we have? We have Bumgarner. Pittsburgh, putting on my shoes. Wild card game. I mean, loser out, right? You know, we 2014. I'm in the Pittsburgh clubhouse, 1-game playoff. They're really hot at the time. So were we, but they had some hot hitters. I'm lacing up my shoes, and Bum and I lockered next to each other a lot of times on the road because it was 40 and 41, right? Our numbers. And I'm lacing up my shoes, and he looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm lacing up my cleats. I'm about ready to go to the bullpen." He's like, "You don't even need to wear your cleats." He said, "This game is done. It's over, and I got 9. So go ahead and put your tennis shoes on." And he walked it off on me. He walked it off. What did he do? The dude that kept it close. Crawford hits a grand slam, and he keeps pitching. I didn't lace up my cleats. I didn't even think about. He was so dominant. He was so dominant and he got through those innings so quick. I almost forgot to stretch. And the guy just knocked out 9 innings. And I looked at him after the game. I'm like, that is unbelievable. He said, I told you. I got you. Then he dominates in the ALC, the NLDS, NLC. We get to the World Series. Complete game, game 5. It is a close match. And the Royals and the Giants matchups, if you break that down, position by position, we're pretty even. We might have a better, we might have been like, we're up on the catcher, or we're up in this position, but they're up in this position. We're pretty even. Everybody was pretty even. Even our bullpen had similar numbers, but you know who got more credit? The Royals bullpen. They continue to give them credit. Why? Because they were flamethrowers. They're throwing hard. They're striking everybody out. And the veteran bullpen of the Giants, we just got outs. We outsmarted them. They continue giving the Royals their bull. Oh, man, that bullpen's going to sustain. That bullpen's going to come through. That bullpen's just going to be a little too much for the Royals or for the Giants. Got to their bullpen in game 7. What bullpen didn't got to? The Giants. Why? Because Bochy's pretty freaking smart. So I got a starter that just dominated. I mean, pitched really well in game 1, dominated in game 5. And in the newspaper, the quotes were, at least we don't have to face Bum again. That was what the quotes were. Well, guess what Bochy does? He reads. Guy's pretty smart. Reads the newspaper. Probably don't want him reading that because then Bochy's brain gets ticking. And he's like, oh, you don't think you're going to face Bum again because you can't see him very well? Game 7, Bum, how you feeling? Feel great. Can you throw? Yes, I can. How long can you throw? Until my arm falls off. You got the game. When do I got the game? Well, we're gonna flip the script here. We're gonna go as long as Huddy can go. If he doesn't go that long, Affelt's gonna come in. He's gonna get the ball to the 5th. You got it. You got it on, and you got it till you can't take the ball anymore. What happened? Kiss the ring, baby. Kiss the freaking ring. Game 7, we freaking celebrate on their field because we had a hot starter that knew how to pitch, that could actually pitch out of the bullpen. It's just really hard to do. So we had another Timmy situation. We had another guy that could come in, but this time he was our horse, and he took the ball and he ran with it. Arizona Diamondbacks, when they took it from the Yankees, they're throwing Schilling and Randy Johnson in the back end of the game. Cy Young Award winners, horses. They know how to run it. That's how you do it. You got to have guys that can throw out of the bullpen and lock it down. I don't care if it's a starter or a reliever, but someone's got to be at the back end because someone's coming in relief of a starter in the World Series, and they're going to lock down games. Got to have a bullpen. So you GMs out there, they're going to tell me you don't have to have a bullpen. I beg to differ. Any of you team presidents out there that are going to tell your GMs to not focus on a lockdown bullpen, it's going to hurt you in the end. It's going to hurt you in the end. If you want to win championships and you think you got a good enough bullpen to get through a season and you don't have to make big trades or big situations to bring in bullpen arms, it's going to be a big mistake. It's a huge mistake. In fact, I like what some teams have done lately. They'll go out and they'll get through a bullpen, but then they'll trade and they'll have three closers on the same team and be like, hey, we're trying to win a ring here. So I know you all can close. You all can pitch 7th, 8th, 9th. Go out there and just lock it down. They figure it out. It's the only way to do it. It is how you play the game. Starting pitching season. Yes, you got to have great starts. You got to keep your bullpen fresh. You're going to have a drag in July, a drag in August. Those dog days are going to be either or. So the bullpens are going to pick up the starters, right? Some for a month or two. The starters are going to pick up the bullpen for a month or two because they're rested and they're getting through their stuff and they're getting going. In September, everybody's picking up everybody. You're hitting on all cylinders. And then when you get to the playoffs, the back end, in the end, will win the ball game. They will seal up world championships. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the next time, and I go ahead and try to prove me wrong, but the next time someone tells you the bullpens are just backup guys, because everybody thinks sometimes, bullpens are just where the starters go to die, or they didn't make it. And I kind of thought that way at first too, because I didn't make it as a starter. I tried with Kansas City, didn't make it. And I said, well, I'll just go to the bullpen. Didn't realize how important the bullpen was until I became a lifer in the bullpen. They're massive to the game situation. So anybody says, hey, bullpens are just a backup, I'm going to remind you what happens. I'm going to remind you what happens when a bullpen collapses and a bullpen goes into big games and you're depending on them for big games. They're just a backup. I will tell you right now, anybody that does not think a bullpen is needed for their team in the playoffs, you will not get a parade. You'll get a plane ride home. I'm going to tell you that right now. Y'all are packing up, taking it to the house, and you know what you're going to get in the World Series? You're going to get a loser ring. You know what that is? A loser ring is someone that didn't win the World Series, but they won their league championship. So if you're an American League team that wins the World Series, you get a National League championship. And if you're a National League team that wins the World Series, you're going to get an American League championship ring if you lose. It's called a loser ring. It's second place. That's what you get if you do not have a bullpen. You're going to get that plane ride home, period. But I got some pretty fun quotes for you, okay? Here's some good quotes. I was kind of looking around and I was seeing different quotes around the league. It was pretty good. Somebody said, championships aren't won by starters. They're saved by bullpens. Thank you. Thank you. That's what's needed. Yeah. These starters are going to get $35 million or whatever they're getting, right? Scherzer right now is getting paid by 22 freaking different teams. Okay. $100 gazillion. Okay. Okay. In 1 year, he's played 2 innings. Okay. Bullpens get it done. Period. They are saved by the bullpen. That's what it is. And the smart GMs, the smart presidents of teams, the smart managers that know how to use their bullpen, know what they need. They're going to get it done. That's why Bochy rolls out, comes to the Rangers, and he wins. He won it. But what did he do? He went out and got some guys. Some big arms, put them in the bullpen, stuffed them in there, and won some championships. Here's another one for you I really like. Quote 2. Ready? Here's a good one if I can find it. Here's a good one. There's a formula, and it ain't just velocity. It's not. No, excuse me. Wrong one. But that is a good point, by the way. It's not just velocity. In this velocity world where everybody throws 100, it ain't it. I'm going to tell you that right now. You can't locate homers. Here's one, though. Bullpen arms don't need permission. They need poise. I like it. Why? They don't need permission to go out there and to say, hey, man, I give you permission to win. They got to be able to be poised enough to win in the playoffs. It's a tough gig in the play. I'm telling it's a movie set. You go out there for BP, it's intimidating. Why? You walk out for BP and there's 3,200 cameras out there from every country in the world wanting to eclipse a BP. Then you got cameras zipping around on lines, like they're zipping around these lines above the catcher. Like, I don't even know how that works. You got cameramen running with you in from the bullpen. Like when you're running there, it's a lot. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on that takes a lot of focus, and you got to have poise. You got to know when it's hitting the fan, which it usually is in the playoffs. Fans are on their feet. They're waving their white towels. Energy. It's rocking. It's shaking. Everything's going nuts. Why? because it's freaking the World Series or it's the playoffs. The atmosphere is crazy. You got to have poise. You got to be able to say it's still 60 feet, 6 inches. The plate is still 17 inches wide. There's still 4 quadrants to the strike zone. I can pitch to 6 areas. In, out, up, down, middle in, middle out, middle, breaking ball in the dirt. I can still do all the same things that I did well during the season. The playoffs, there's no difference. But you got to have the poise to do it. Last one. Here's a big one. Ready? One of my favorites. Look at any championship team, someone said. You'll find 3 things: a hot bat, a strong ace, and a bullpen that doesn't flinch. Look at 14, look at 16, look at 21. The pen was absolutely nails. You had a hot bat. You had Pablo. You had, I'll tell you right now, arguable, but it is what it is. Morse, homer to tie the game. Set Ishii up for a homer to take you to the World Series. Game 7, Morse, base hit. Like, guys, the guy was he was clutch. He had it. We had it. Yet we had guys that could hit. We just did. We had a strong ace. We had Bumgarner. We had Kane in different years. We had Kane. We had Bumgarner. We had Timmy 2010. Everybody's carrying him on the freaking shoulders, right? Struck out 14 or whatever it was in the first playoffs against the Atlanta Braves. First game he's ever pitched in the playoffs. Easy. 14 punchies. Take it to the house. Freaking long hair, right? All that stuff. It's unbelievable. We had Kane. Shotgun Kane, they called him. Chainsaw, throwing the changeable there. Dominating. Absolutely dominating. And then Bum, obviously, in 2014. Guy's a freaking beast. Absolute beast for me. And then the bullpen, I'm sorry. Fear the Beard, Brian Wilson, crazy as all get out. Eyes bulging, shirt half undone, no underwear wearing when he's wearing his uniform, whatever he has to do. Guys out there freaking dominating. No one wanted to face him. Nobody. One more round, baby. He was one of my favorite teammates. I loved him. And then Romo throwing fastballs right down the middle to Cabrera to win the World Series. You freaking kidding me? Who does that? Who does that? He's got a nasty slider, threw a fastball down the middle. Punchy. Freaking big cojones right there. That's why Romo was Romo. And then Bum. And then you had the bullpen. And then you had our bullpen in 2014 that pitched every inning at all times, whenever we need it. Nobody cared who the closer was. Nobody cared. Could be Strickland one day, Casilla one day, could be Romo one day. No one cared who the hero was. Petit throwing 6. It didn't matter. We just went out there that year and we dominated every inning. And when Bochy needed us, he figured out how to pitch in mix and match the entire time, played the chess match, proved why he's a guaranteed Hall of Fame manager. He understands a bullpen. He knows what he's doing. And the bullpen knew what he expected of us. And whenever we came into the game, we knew it was the right matchup in the right situation. Then you win in world championships. Everybody's sitting there saying, when's it going to happen again? When's it going to happen again? I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen again, but I can tell you right now, if it's going to happen, you got to have a dominant starter or 2, in my opinion. You got to have a hot hitter. You got to have defense, and you better have a lockdown bullpen. So however you got to get that done, you get it done, but that's the way you're going to win a championship. And it might take some time to build it, or you can go buy it. One of the two. There's 2 versions of it. Everybody I know, the Dodgers, they're buying everything. Great. Probably a podcast. I don't like it. I don't like that they're buying everything. I don't like it. But you're going to buy it or you're going to build it. You're going to piece it together. I'm pretty sure Buster's going to figure out a way to get it done. I think that you're not going to – I can't guarantee a world championship. I think you're going to have some fun here in the next few years, though, because I think there's going to be some pretty competitive teams. That's my rant. It's a little shorter than last time, but that's me. Jeremy Affel, Built for the Storm podcast. And to all you bullpen guys out there, this one's for you. Cheers. I don't have a beer. I got hot water. Cheers. Because this one's for you because it is truth. And we deserve it, and we need to know where give credit where credit's due. Every bullpen guy out there that's been in the playoffs understands what I'm saying. Everybody that wants to be in the playoffs that understands bullpens knows what I'm saying. This one's for you. Yes. Do bullpens win championships? Absolutely 100%, period. No argument. I'm out. Jeremy Affelt. See you next time. Boom.